Yo, what's up? It's the solarkidd, and welcome back to the Other Side of the Sun podcast. This is a show that I call a journey of self-discovery through people and their stories, and how I and we can learn from people, each other, and the many different perspectives around the world, in life, and in the quest for understanding. So, trying to find out what's happening on the other side of the sun. I am the Sun Child, aka solarkidd, other side of the sun, and I'd like to introduce my lovely guest today, Heidene Lawrence, the creator of Tubby's CBD Products, all the way from Joburg, South Africa.
Yay. How's it, Tina? Thanks for the invite to the show.
Yes, welcome to the other side of the sun. How are you doing?
Oh, good, man. Good to finally have hooked up with you. It's taken us some time to get you.
Yeah.
But it's great to be here. Yeah, it's great to be here. But it's good to connect with you finally, and thanks for the opportunity to share where this has started, and where we're going.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really honored to have you on. Heidene has a very interesting story that I'd like to share with you guys, which is why she's on the show today. But also, she has an amazing company that she started, and she's an entrepreneur and also an inventor and a little bit of a food chemist, maybe, like mixing oils and spices and things to make her products. But let's take it away. Let me give us a bit of a background of yourself and how you got into the CBD business.
Well, it sort of happened by chance, It wasn't really a big plan of mine. So I had a very thriving career. I was very happy with what I was doing. I was in the coaching field, did a lot of life coaching and executive coaching in my career. I was a consultant, did transformation work. And I'd been an epileptic for, since the age of 27. And one morning when I was 40, I woke up and my epilepsy was just completely out of control. I was having like 20 seizures a day.
Oh, wow.
And it was insane, So trying to get it under control was a massive journey. So it took about 2 years to try and just get those seizures under control. And I spent about 2 years in hospital. My family and that was hectic, That's long,
That's very long.
Yeah, and it was like the carpet just one of those life moments when the carpet just gets like pulled out under you, and everything just sort of falls apart. And so you have to start over. You have to pick yourself up again, and things need to start happening again. So it was a matter of just getting the seizures under control. But with that came a loss of everything. And I'm not talking about just the material losses in terms of losing your house and your job and that kind of thing. I lost my ability to speak. I lost my ability to walk. I couldn't talk. I forgot how to read. I couldn't write. It was, nothing was working. And I needed to investigate other options, because staying in a hospital bed wasn't going to work for me. And my brother said to me one day, why don't you in fact, he just walked into the house and he said, yeah, you have to try this green stuff. Okay. And it was Fico in an injection needle. You know the Fico? You and I discussed that.
Yeah.
You have to try this. It's the only
good.
Yeah.
Black gold.
He says you have to try it. It's the only thing that's gonna make you work. So I said to him, Kevin, I don't want to get high. I don't want to feel paranoid or any of that. And he begs me and he says, please, Heidi, just try it. So I have some, and of course, the stuff tastes vile, it tastes absolutely vile. And so I had some of it, but then my seizures started reducing. And it was like, okay, something is working. So within like a couple of days, there was 3 or 4 less seizures. But I didn't like being high. So
because
then,
the FICO, the pure, that still has lots of THC in the actual. It's pure, basically, pure weed. Basically.
Exactly, it's pure. It's like 100%, And then my son says, he says to me a week later, okay, Mom, why don't you try smoking some? And I'm thinking, yeah, right. When I was a teenager and I was in my 20s, smoking dope was fine. It was cool, but no, not for this time. This is a road for healing, for getting better. It's not a time for, getting high. I need to learn. I'm 40 years old and I can't remember how to read. I don't have time to get high. I need to get my life back here, because there's still this cognitive, in the back of your head, no matter how sick you are, that you have to pick yourself up.
Rehabilitate.
You have to rehabilitate. You have to start over. You can't lay flat on your back forever. Relationships and good family and support from good friends. That there's hope. So that's vitally important. So with the result, we started doing more research, and we did more research on the product. And, my mom, when you talk about stigma, my mom also, she had to accept, van jy weet in ons daas, mos die ouers is mos dagga, and there's nothing good that comes from dagga, Wat soek julle met die goede? And then you have to start with the...
My international viewers, dagga, zol, weed, marijuana, Mary Jane, dagga.
Yes, that's the South African term for it, dagga.
The original term from our Khoi and San ancestors.
And then we had to explain, and as we did more research on it, and then, having to start in the house, my mom, because she saw the influence that it had on my healing, it destigmatized her,
She could see the benefits of it.
She could see the benefits of it. And she was then able to accept that. And with her acceptance, the acceptance grew with her friends and her age group, because they started realizing it. And that's where it was easy to see that once people realize the impact it has on one person, that's how it's going to grow. And that's where, I realized that this is going to be, because I need to get back on my feet, I can turn this into a business opportunity as well. And only then, because of doing the research, I started getting my reading skills back. I was able to write again. My walking had improved again. My seizures had decreased. I was getting my life back slowly but surely. Because
so by doing these things and rehabilitating yourself through actually starting a business, because of the business.
Exactly. Because of cannabis.
Okay. Cannabis.
So because of cannabis. It was everything started because of what happened with the seizures, because of the healing that cannabis brought, and now I'm able to build a life with it.
what was I going to say? So, like, what were some of the challenges that you had to face? Like, you know, getting to the point of actually registering the business and getting stuff started.
Well, so it's not easy coming from a career where you earn, you know, a big salary, you have a successful salary and you don't have any financial issues, to suddenly having to earn a SASSA grant, which is 1,800 Rand a month. And from that 1,800 Rand a month, you've got to make sure, and I mean, let's be real about this and not try and make it nice and water it down, you know. The reality is there's not a lot you can do with 1,800 Rand a month. You've got to still buy your basics, you've got to buy your toiletries, you've got to try and see to A, B, C, D, and E. So I started with, let's say, $600 a month building this business, you know. A lot of it came from prayer and hard work with God above. Somehow there was a lot of favors that God just opened doors from the start. My mother, God bless her soul, and my brother, they really gave as much as they possibly could, you know, because we had to move back to my mom's place. My son and I had to move back into my mom's place. And so building this business from a SASSA grant to where it is now was not exactly easy.
No, that's an amazing achievement.
Yeah. So I mean, there was this guy once. His name was Bertie. I don't even know where this guy has disappeared to. I just showed him my product, and he just, by some miracle, said, "Hey, here's $8,000 for you. Please just go and make it a success." A colored guy, you know, and I haven't been able to reach him after that.
Angel.
You know, an angel, really an angel investor. You know, and with that, we were able to finalize some of the packaging. A lot of the companies that, you know, some companies are very strict with MOQs, you know, your minimum order quantities. Some of them are very strict. They won't give it to you unless you buy 1,000 of something.
Yeah, of course.
Or 500 of something.
Yeah.
You know, but somehow a lot of the companies that we needed to work with were very complacent somehow when it came to us. I don't know why. So my thinking is that was purely the favor of God, you know, and we didn't have to beg for it. We didn't have to ask, you know, a lot for it. Even Druids, the place where we get our cannabis from, they're a licensed supplier. Gavin, who works there, is also one of the owners there. From a mentoring perspective, you know, in the cannabis field, he was so open with sharing his knowledge in terms of what to do, what not to do, which is not information you usually get freely.
Yeah,
you know,
that's definitely. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, he's been a phenomenal influence in where we've come from, and just it's amazing where we've come from. But it took us about 2.5 years before we actually found an investor. It took us about 2.5 years before we found an investor, you know, who's actually sort of taken us seriously to say, okay, let me help you get this onto the market.
On the market.
Yeah, it's taken serious time to get this done.
No, that's amazing. Honestly, like seriously, like just being able to grow a business like that. But also, I like the fact that you found this thing and you were able to sort of through rehabilitating yourself, your self-rehabilitation, you were able to grow a business and find a passion that can not only help you but in future possibly help others. Just to remind everybody as well, we are on the Other Side of the Sun podcast. I am the solarkidd. There will be links in the descriptions. This is Heidene from Tubbys CBD, and there will be links for all her products as well. So what I wanted to say was having epilepsy, are you considered a disabled businesswoman? And has it affected your business in any way? Or
yes, it does. I am considered a disabled person, but I look at it as differently able.
Differently able.
Yes.
I like that.
Differently able. Yeah. And so my sister joined the business because she has skills in the finance area. She has skills from an HR perspective. And I deal with marketing and with the production and doing the research. My son deals with facilities and logistics and all of those things, and with sales. So it's a matter of being wise enough to surround yourself with the correct people, because I know that there are things that I'm not going to be able to do that they need to do. And fortunately, we are a good enough team to support each other that way. And there are things with having experienced all of those seizures that have left certain, how shall I put it, areas where I don't operate optimally anymore, And I think it's important for us in this day and age to be able to be open enough when we are not able to function at our best,
Ask for help.
And exactly, to ask for help, And we are very blessed when we have people who are around us that we can trust and be able to count on, I know if I've had a seizure that I can count on Beulah and I can count on Dylan to be able to continue running the business, Beulah being my sister, and to do it in a professional manner. And that is what happens, I still have my seizure. I don't have 20 seizures a day anymore, but I still have, I do still have my seizures.
How often are they?
Well, it depends. When I'm highly stressed, then I'll have like maybe 5 a week or so. Because I have 4 different types of epilepsy. I don't just have one form of epilepsy. I had like 7 different forms, and I don't know if you sort of grow out of it or if the CBD has minimalized the impact of it. And that's why there's such a broad range of products that we have.
Okay.
Because, and this is where I'd like to touch on the CBD a little bit, is that there is such a broad range of products on the market. So I found that the oil didn't really work for me, because there was a time after my mom saw what an influence it had on me and what a difference it made, that she bought, some oil drops, and it didn't really do much for me, because, she became so supportive of this. My mom's an exceptionally supportive mother. She's amazing. But it didn't really do for me as much as the tea did for me, And then we expanded on the tea, and the tea was working phenomenally for me. And then I found that after a while, I had thought maybe I need to include this into my diet, because I was sort of like getting tired of drinking tea, because I love coffee. I'm actually like a coffee person. I love coffee, And then I thought, okay, maybe I should like find a way to cook with it, because one day I saw a cooking with cannabis show on the television, and then I thought, no, man, how am I going to include this stuff? I can include this stuff in my diet. And it doesn't mean because I'm large and lovely, I'm large and lovely, fit, fine, fat, and fabulous, that diet needs to mean I suddenly have to lose weight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I thought I can make a range of spices, and we put in the time, we did the research, we did the development with it, and we created a range of custom blend spices. We went to a proper spice developer, a proper food technician. We put in the time, we put in the effort, we put in the money. Dylan spent half of his salary on it before he started working here. Shame, I feel so sorry for the poor kid,
You'll get a good pension at least.
Dylan spent half of his salary on this business. And we made a range of spices with it. So I found that cooking with it provided me with the exact same results. And I would go through periods where, for testing's sake, I stayed on my meds, okay, but I wouldn't touch the CBD to check the results.
Mm.
To check the results of not having CBD and having CBD. And the minute I would leave it, I would start having seizures again. And the minute it would enter into my system, the seizures would stop again, So, and that spoke to how much of it, the cannabis makes a difference in my life as an epileptic, So, and that's how the range started expanding and expanding and expanding. That's why it's such a broad range.
So, it's been kind of legalized in South Africa, not exactly, isn't it? What's the? I mean, how long has it been since they've made this legislation, and what is the legislation?
There is so much gray area at the moment.
Mm.
So right now there's a lot of areas around food that's not being
defined.
So defined as yet. Sabra is having a lot of issues currently. It's a big battle at the moment. You have to have your GMP processes sorted out. You have to get your cannabis from a legal enterprise where you can smoke it. People tend to smoke it. There's a couple of bars, there's this wonderful place in Tubbys, it's called The Joint. It's a fantastic place. You have to have membership to go there. They also sell our products there. And the atmosphere there is just simply amazing. There's also a place called 420 there's one in Sandton and there's one in Randburg. There's a couple of, there's this place called Crow Africa that also have a great amount of restaurants and places where you can hang out.
For people in South Africa or in Joburg or wherever, you get in a list of spots here that you must go and check out if you're into this type of stuff. And if you're not, maybe it's a good thing to go and experience and to actually, try out and see, because growing up, like you say, for me, where I used to hang out, it wasn't always, like I just remember dacha rockers and why not stand over there on the dacha rockers? Meanwhile, I was the biggest dacha rocker there, but yeah, and I'm still standing, I'm still healthy. But each to their own, man. Each must try. You know what I mean? It's. I know in my family the that stigma has changed as well. You know what I mean? I think I remember my uncle was growing in the back garden there and stuff. So it's cool. I mean, like, what's it like in Joburg or in South Africa? Is there still a big, or is it more the older generation still hanging on to that, or is it changing a lot now?
No, I think a lot of it is changing. I would boldly say that about I can boldly say that about 40% of South Africans know what CBD is, and know what's happening currently in the market.
What I was talking about was both THC and CBD, but I was gonna actually ask you, do people know the difference between CBD and THC? And can you explain it in the most simplest way, if as well?
Yeah, and I think what's happening now is, personally as Tubbys, what we do and what the marketing team does is we bring a lot of emphasis on the education of what the product is about, in terms of that, it's the healing part of cannabis and the history of cannabis, where it comes from the 18th century. Because that's important. That's what people don't understand, what this plant is all about and why it's been, treated so badly all of these years. And now, with cancer and the healing power that it brings, a lot of education is being shed, the light is being shed. And what you're finding on Instagram now is that a lot of companies have suddenly realized that they have to educate their people more, their buyers more. And it's not just a trend, because that's how CBD started. It started as a trend. But suddenly now there's this realization that we have to educate people if we want them to purchase it, and to purchase it as a healing agent and not just as a trend. Because that's what it is. And it's beginning to change, and everybody is starting to realize that they have to destigmatize this. So boldly, I would say that 40% understand it, and the other 60% are naughty because they know what it is. Hulle weet dit stout, Hulle weet dit stout en is lekker.
But that needs to change as well. You know what I mean? That perception. Do you know what I mean?
It is, and it's going to change slowly but surely. And I think a lot of work is being done with that because of things like technology, it's going to be changed, because of the edibles that's happening, because the younger generation has so much influence on the older generation, much more than we want to actually admit. The younger people do have an influence on the older people, and it's happening quicker and faster than we actually realize. So that stigma will break. I think we can all bravely say and admit that the stigma will break, because it is busy taking over the world very quickly. And there's this wonderful association in South Africa, Cannabis Trade Association, the CTAA. They are busy fighting huge battles with SAPRA and huge battles with the South African government to include cannabis as part of the I think it's called the herbal section. I can't think of the correct words. Guys, if you hear this podcast, please forgive me. But they're fighting huge battles to get this included and to get it legalized, because they know what it's about. So anybody who's listening to this in South Africa, please go on to the CTAA website and sign up, and please support them. They are doing wonderful work. They are fighting the battles to make sure that everything gets legalized for us.
What's the name of the acronym? What's CTAA? Cannabis Trust.
Cannabis Trade Association. You see, this is the thing when you don't know. When you do know, Cannabis Trade Association Africa. It's a non-profit for the cannabis industry.
Mm.
Okay. So they go to SAPRA and they go to government and they fight for getting everything legalized in the country. Whether you are a herbalist, whether you are a doctor, they are, whether you're a cannabis startup company, they are doing all of the hard work and they're not really getting recognized for what it is they are doing. As well as the, Fields of Green for All. Those guys have been fighting this battle for years, So there's a lot of work that's been going in and going on in South Africa that has opened doors for people like us, to get in there, to be able to make a difference, because cannabis is not just about it being available on the shelves. It's about it making a difference in people's lives.
Okay.
I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he said the cannabis business is not just about smoking a joint. The cannabis business is also about puff, puff, give. Open my door. I open it.
Stay touchy to the left hand side. Yeah, man. That's really cool, man. Heidene, this is such an amazing story and such an amazing business, an idea that you started. I mean, do you want to just tell people a little bit about your products and stuff and the type of things that you can get from it or whatever? Because I'm sure people are going to be interested and maybe even want to, send you an email and hopefully get some deliveries up. Get your deliveries up after Christmas. This video is going to be coming out just before the end of the year. This is my last video for 2021. And that's why I have such a special guest on today. So yeah, tell us about CBD Lifestyle. I mean, Tubby CBD Lifestyle, your products, what people can get, where they can go, what's in it, how to use it.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Okay, so we've got a range of teas, okay? And each tea has a little, let's start. We've got 5 teas, 5 of South Africa's best teas, okay? Buchu? Do you know Buchu tea? You should know Buchu tea. You're from South Africa.
I've never heard of Buchu tea, unfortunately, but at least I can say the word. Sounds like when you got some snot in your nose or something. Buchu tea. What is Buchu tea?
Buchu tea kom van die Khoisan mense af.
Okay. So same like rooibos as well. So it comes from our Khoi and San people, yeah.
Yeah. So Buchu tea comes from our Khoi people. And it is very good for the urinary tract. It's also very good for the ladies. And so we've got a Buchu mint tea. And it is it smells terrible. It does not smell very good, but it tastes divine. Okay.
Yeah, green tea doesn't smell that good either, but I mean, it's so good for you.
Yeah. So it is, it tastes absolutely delicious. And then we have a chocolate.
So that's obviously infused with CBD in some way?
It's all infused with CBD.
So how is it infused? Is it the tea?
What we do is we don't use isolate, and we have made sure that we stay as far away from any sort of chemical and extraction processes as possible. Okay, we stay as close to the product as possible. So we follow a decarboxylation process, and anybody who's in the CBD industry knows what that is. Mm-hmm. And then we put it through an activation series after that. So we mix it with the tea, and it makes it very simple. You just put your tea bag in a cup, no milk. You just add some honey to it. Add some honey or some sugar, and you let it steep for 4 to 5 minutes, and it's absolutely delicious. Okay, so that's what we've done. We also use Manila hemp tea bags. It's not just in an ordinary tea bag, and so it's very delicious. And We've got chocolate rooibos tea, we've got a lemon and ginger tea. We've got a peach and apricot tea, and then we have a range of spices. Okay, we've got 6 different spices, all custom blend spices. Also, a very specifically made, activated into our spices as well. We've got an olive oil, which is great for cooking. All of it has been put together with a food specialist that we've brought on. And then we've got a range of pest. Het jy daai gehoor? Daar was nog kleerling wat uitgekom het daar. So
wat sê pest?
Pest. Pest.
Pest. Pest. What a pest. Oh my God, Budapest.
I tell you, every colored person that's going to listen to this is going to have such a laugh. So we've got a range of paste. We're going to increase and then we're looking at expanding into doing the creams and the body range, etc. But we're not really in a rush to do that because the market is sort of, filled with creams and that kind of thing. So we're not in a rush to do that. For us, it's really, and that's why we call it a lifestyle, because, and an affordable lifestyle, because what we're saying is that, and this is not what we're saying is that let's try and make this affordable. Okay. And let's give it a range, because what I found with me was that eventually, after about 8 months, trying to get my seizures under control for about 8 months, I eventually got to the point where I could have a cup of tea today and then cook something the next day and then have some paste the next day. I didn't have to have the same thing every day, and I was able to provide myself with a broader scope. I could cook a full meal in the kitchen and still have CBD in my system. It was bioavailable, and I was able to microdose. I could have it in my system all the time. And that's the other thing with CBD. Just because, let's use oil for example. Just because 5 drops of CBD oil is what is going to work for me, doesn't necessarily mean that 5 drops is going to work for you. 10 drops might work for you, and then you find that 1 drop works for the next person. So it's different for everybody.
So do you know what sort of ailments CBD helps with, or like what CBD is actually good for? Do you need to be ill to take it, or is it something everyone should be taking, or what? What does it help with mainly?
Yeah, I'll give you that in a second. Just to get back on that other point. So there's this thing in South Africa where you've got to have 20 milligrams per shot, and you can only produce a product that has 600 milligrams of CBD in it. So now you look at microdosing and you look at what needs to be available in a product. Okay. It does not work that way for a lot of people. And it does not work that way for whoever's putting a product on the shelf. So then you find people like at the Cannabis Trade Association. Those are the kind of the people that is fighting that ruling.
Yeah, so you can't limit the amount of CBD in there.
Yeah, you can't limit the amount, because you're not going to overdose on it. You can't overdose on the stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's some of the problems they have over here as well, is because when people are importing CBD or whatever, then they have to measure the THC, if it's 0.1 or 0.2, 0.3, and it's 0.2, 0.3 is not going to get you high at all. It's not even going to do anything to you, and yet they can't come to any consensus on the legislation for this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. You simply can't. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. So getting back to your question in terms of ailments, so obviously it works for people with epilepsy. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Sometimes I need to have 5 cups of tea plus a pancake, to restore my mind and my body. So it's fantastic for inflammation. It's brilliant for anybody with any type of inflammation. I also have some arthritis because of the epilepsy, and waking up with inflamed joints is terrible. It's fantastic for people with diabetes if you are able to live a disciplined lifestyle. So people with diabetes, when you use CBD, does not mean that you must automatically just use CBD.
Stop taking your EpiPens and stuff like that. You have to see how it works, or like get to know how it reacts to your body.
Exactly. And you still need to maintain your medication. It is fantastic for people who have cancer, who suffer from nausea, with whatever treatment they are going through. It assists with pain. It is fantastic with that. It's great for your blood. It is great just to make your body feel better. It is great for women who are going through a PMS. It is great for fibromyalgia. It is, I hope I said that word properly, people. Okay, don't laugh. I hope so. Rather just laugh with me, don't laugh at me. So, it's great for sore muscle. It is fantastic if you have, as far as anxiety is concerned, it is sure. And anxiety is one of the things I want to touch on. For a lot of people out there who are suffering from anxiety, especially during this time when COVID took over the world so much, and even now, so when people are, working from home and having to readjust once again, having to go back to what seems to be a normal world now. Anxiety is going to be a very big thing. It takes a lot of courage to suffer from anxiety and then find yourself having to go back there. So one must never underestimate somebody who says, or undervalue when people say they have anxiety, because it takes a lot of courage to still be able to function that way. And the CBD is very good for people who have anxiety. And they too must respect themselves if they are still able to function. Because it's a very real thing. Mental health is a very, very
serious,
delicate. It's a very delicate balance. To still be able to maintain a job, function well in your marriage, in your relationships, those kind of things. So it is very good to maintain a good mental health status. It is fantastic for the neural system.
So basically, it's just an all-round something you need to basically make a part of your lifestyle and your diet.
Absolutely.
Nadine, honestly, man, that's so much information that we covered here, and there's probably so much more as well.
Please, people, don't leave your meds when you go onto epilepsy. When you go onto CBD, please discuss it with your doctor's still.
Yeah, so this is not like medical advice. We basically giving you advice from the Heidene's perspective and from the research that she's done with her business. And obviously, there's lots of research still going on, like surrounding CBD and THC and marijuana. So anything you want to know, we have the internet now, people. So use it. Just type it in, and obviously make sure you fact check and check multiple sources. Don't just take the first thing that pops up in Google. Gebruik jou gedachte, use your brain, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Use that technology. We have the information now. You don't have to feel, But Heidene, that's, I probably want to get you back on the podcast again at some point again, and also just see how you're doing, how the business is going, maybe some point in the future. There's also like a new sort of format that I'm going to be doing for the show. I'm just trying to get more subscribers, more viewers. So people, if you're watching, wherever you are, don't forget to like and subscribe and to share my videos. And Heidene's information will be in the description. There'll be links to her website, how you can order more information on CBD and all her products. And I mean, is there anything that you want to add before we close? Anything you want to say or message to my viewers or to people that are interested in what you're doing?
No, thanks just for having me on today, Kenan. It's been so much fun. Thank you for allowing me to share so much. It's been great. And you have been so sincere and so committed in getting this done. I really, really appreciate it. It's been a journey.
Oh, well, I mean, look, life is life, eh? I try to be a man of my word. I try. And it's a very simple thing to try and do. But yeah, I appreciate you making the time to come on as well. And I wish you all the best of luck in your business, because it is something that is slightly contentious, but is growing and people's perceptions are changing. And the more people that understand the power of CBD and THC as well, which is also a healer, everything in moderation. I mean, like with all these things that are out there, what I mean? I think the most important thing is to understand yourself and understand how your body works, because everybody's body is different. Everyone's mind is different. So, try things, find out what works for you. If it's, making you feel funny, then obviously it's not for you. Try something else. But be open and be flexible to learn and understand, because your body generally speaks to you, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, for me, if I'm doing something too much, people tell me I'll get a headache or I feel crap or whatever. So there's always ways, you know what I mean? But I mean, with your company and with CBD, you're helping to facilitate, hopefully, people finding better spaces, anxiety, arthritis, epilepsy, and also helping, with these ailments that people are suffering with, especially mental health in these times as well. So, Heidene, thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. This is the Other Side of the Sun podcast. I'm the SolarkiD. That's Heidene, and we are out. Peace and love. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Shop, shop, shop. Away.
Bye.